What's up, folks? It's your boy DT 2.0, and just like I said yesterday, and I think I made a comment in the community section that I wanted to see what it felt like to have a 4K OLED screen with a 3080 chip in it, because I haven't had a desktop or even a laptop, for that matter, with a 3080 chip in it. And I went on Dell's website, so they had a bunch of R4s, M15R4s for sale, and I guess I got lucky enough to find one on sale, obviously, because it's refurbished, to find one with a 3080 chip in it with a 4K OLED screen. So we'll see what that performs like. So right off the bat, this is the box that it comes in. So last time I ordered a refurbished product from Dell, which was the R10, Aurora R10, the Rising edition of that, it actually came in the Aurora box. This time is the Alienware M15R4. It kind of comes in this regular Dell box. So as you can see in here, the computer's in there somewhere. I already don't like the way this is packed in here, so it'll be interesting to see how this thing looks for one, and then performs. So let me get it out the box first and foremost. So right in the box, and I'm not trying to do nothing professional this time. Not like all my videos are professional anyway, right? It comes with, looks like a fairly new power cable, and then the refurbished, because you can tell they got rubber bands on it, power brick. I'm so hood. And then the laptop, the way it's just sitting in here, got me feeling a little bit uneasy, because it looked like it jangled around a little bit. I don't think it was as secure as it could have been. They could have did a little better with the packaging, but let's see. I'm gonna slide this thing out of here and see what it looks like and performs like. So here it is out of that plastic unsecure wrapping. Let's just go with that. Looks like Dell just put a piece of strip in there to keep it protected. So let's open this up and see. Now, unfortunately, most of the most of the laptops that they have in their refurbished site only has the 4-zone keyboard, which you guys know I didn't like, but I think I made an exception in this case, because most of the time I'm not gonna be typing on this thing anyway. But we'll see. Maybe they made a mistake and sent me something better than I ordered, because that happened to me on Amazon a few times, where I ordered a model, and then they sent me the updated model. Not computers, it was a watch. And they sent me a watch that was like $300-400 more, and I wanted me to return it. Yeah, no. Anyway, I can tell it's the model. It's the R4 first and foremost, because one, this matte black looks like I got some chipping right here. Yeah, that's definitely a chip right there at the top. So it took some type of beating right here on the screen, and you can feel the little ridges right there. But whoever had it didn't even take the plastic off of Toby in and around the edge. So let's see if I can power this thing up. And no, let me plug it up. And I think we finally got some juice here. Uh-oh. Battery cannot be identified. The system will be unable to charge this battery. So looks like I took a chance and gambled and lost. What the hell is up with that, Dell? I'm still gonna try to boot it up, but it's right now. I was just saying, and as you can see, the head was blinking red at one point. That the battery cannot be identified, so the system will be unable to charge this battery. So let's continue and see what it says. So hopefully we'll be able to at least get something out of it. So first off, I assume I ordered one with a 4-zone keyboard, but it looks like I got an RGB keyboard, because I can instantly tell because it's bright as hell. So I'm a bit happy about that. I'll let it slide with the battery thing for right now. Maybe it was because it was on 0, but if not, I'll bust it open to see if I can try to fix it. I guess maybe there's a connector disconnected in there, and if not, then it'll go back. It's plain and simple, right? The packaging was BS, you know.
Hi there, I'm Cortana, and I'm here to help.
I'm just happy the speakers are working.
A little sign in here, a touch of Wi-Fi there, and we'll...
All right, so let me set this thing up, and then we'll see what we'll look at what the battery looks like. So I finally got it set up, and as you can see, let me get this camera straight. No battery detected at the bottom here. So maybe it is. Let me change this background to something. There you go. That way you won't see my mug in the screen. So maybe it is something, a connection with the battery. I am going to open it up to see. But unfortunately, it is what it is, right? And you can tell because this is trying to charge, but then it blinks red to let you know that it's not charging. So anyway, let's see what the specs are about your PC. See if they sent me the right one. So this is the i7-10180H, 320 gigabytes of RAM. So it does seem like this is the one I ordered. What about that hard drive? Go up one. So it's only a 512 gigabyte hard drive, which is crazy. No, I don't want any pop-ups. And then last but not least, go here. It does feel snappy. I might, let me add that. It feels snappy. Then help, and then system information. And well, it should tell me right here. RTX3080 GPU, max graphical power 140 watts, CUDA cores 6144 for those that are into CUDA cores, or CUDA cores, or whatever you want to call it, right? I was reading up on that today to get myself boned up. Anyway, like I said, it does feel snappy. Oh, it won't let me do that. It does feel snappy. So I am going to open it up and then see what's wrong with the battery. And then after that, I'll probably film some, if it's working, I'll probably film some performance comparisons between this one and then the one with the 3070 I had. So just hold up. I won't get deep into it. This won't be long. I'm not trying to do a review of something I've already reviewed, but this is a quick review of the refurbished process if you should get one from Dell. So right out the bat, you can tell the box was shitty. The computer didn't feel secure at all in there. It's not like Apple would send me a refurbished computer, because they normally put it in another box with just a plain white box instead of one with a picture on it. This one said Dell, it didn't say Alienware, and it sucks. So let me see if I can bust this thing open and try to fix this battery. So inside it was clean for the most part. You can see the hard drive here. And I'll probably replace that. And this is, I assume this is the battery connector here. It was out a little bit, so I went on ahead and pushed it in. But it wasn't out as much as it couldn't be detected. So we'll see. I want to see if that was the issue, and if it's that easy, what's up with y'all QA process? Or maybe it just jostled around so much in that garbage ass wrapping that it got loosened on its own. One thing I do like about Dell computers is the way the back just snaps on and off, and the screws, only 2 screws actually come out. This one here, and then this one here, and then the other ones, they don't come all the way out, so they just come up to the point where it's enough for you to get off. So I want to put this back on and flip it over and see if I can get it to work. And if not, it goes back in the box and goes back. No big deal. And I just won't do that again. We'll see. And look what we got here. Looks like we got some juice because it's actually on without the power adapter connected. So it was only out a little bit, and maybe I'll refilm it, a close-up of that, but the battery connector was out a little bit. I just pushed it in, and now we have juice. Yay. Let's see how much juice this thing actually has. You can see my ugly mug right there. Welcome me. Like I said before, it was feeling rather snappy as I was moving around. But again, that's just could be me. Yep, the battery was at 58%. outstanding. So let me load this thing up with some games and let's see some performance. Will we? Let's we. Now, right off the bat, I know you hear the fan screaming, but that's because I have it set up that way. I have it in high performance mode, and it automatically kicks the fans up to a high degree. There is a tinge of high pitch to it, but we already knew that because I said that in the review. So to review what I reviewed before, if that makes sense, let's just go over some of the things I loved and liked about it when I used to do loves and likes, right? I love the 4K goodness, and I haven't had a 4K display in here in a minute because I sold my R3 and then I sent back the R4 because of the garbage, what I thought was a garbage keyboard. So it's been about a month or so since I've had one in there, and yes, I've been playing on my CX48 for a minute, but 4K at this pixel density is a different level. So it's pretty crisp, and the performance of the 3080, if you go with put it like this, I've found out that, or I've figured out that if you go with the 4K OLED when they had a 4K OLED, you'll do yourself an injustice if you don't pay the extra to go with the 3080. That's what I came up with, because you will never be able to play a game like this, especially Red Dead 2 at full resolution or full 4K without the horsepower. So just think about that moving forward. QHD screens, 4K screens, you got to go ahead and maximize your funds with the graphics cards, and if not, just get the 1080p. There's nothing wrong with it, because I love the R5's 1080p screen. I thought it was at the pixel density it was at, I thought it was on par with the QHD screen that I had on the Lenovo Legion 5. But that's a different story all in itself. Now, to review to what I loved and liked about it, to recap, the 4K goodness, I love the keyboard, I love the size, I love the look of it, and I still do. This keyboard is the lighting on this, and I'm glad that they didn't send me a 4-zoner. It's just great. I love the feel of it, especially even after dealing with the Cherry MX keyboard. I still like this one better. That's just my thing. My likes, I love the color. I wish that the came in the Dark Side of the Moon with the OLED screen. I'm done complaining about that. The port selection, which they took away with the R5, I like it in this. The trackpad I liked, which was way better than the Lenovo's. The Toby, which is completely gone now, and Alienware Command Center, and of course the speakers. It's obvious, clearly obvious, that these speakers are better than the R5 speakers. Clearly obvious. As soon as I powered it up and turned this thing and loaded up a game and turned the speakers up, it was clear, and no pun intended, right? And then the shipping process, I'm not going to give it kudos in this because they gave me that garbage box, and it looked like the laptop was just flopping around. So I'm wondering if the chips that I got up here was from the box flopping around, because you can't see it really because it's black, but I could definitely feel it. I don't know if you can see it. Put my light ass hand behind it. Nah, you can't see it. I can't even see it. I can see it a little bit. It looks like something hit it right here. But other than that, I mean, unless you're really looking for it, I only found it when I was opening up the keyboard. Opening up the lid. It is what it is, right? The total I paid for this was $2,500. But again, this is the core, and I gave you the specs already, so I'm not gonna go over that again. But it's $2,500. But then again, when you buy these things, just like in the regular Dell store, guess what? You can still go in and ask them for a discount. I went and asked them for a discount. They gave me an extra 5% off. So even if you go to the refurbished shop and see and know that you're already getting a deal, ask for more, right? They got it. Just ask for more. Anyway, as far as dislikes, really didn't have any big dislikes except for the RAM and Wi-Fi being soldered on the board. But in this case, hey, the RAM is already at 32 gigabytes. I don't need to really have more than 32 gigabytes anyway for what I'm going to use this laptop for, and that was about it. So let me play a little bit of this. This is at full 4K. I am using DLSS, and I can turn it off if you guys want me to, but I am using DLSS. But just this pause screen right here, when I say crispy clean. So let's turn on let's see if I can turn on GeForce so I can keep track of these frames. I know there's other software out there that can do that, but I haven't gotten there yet, right? Unless I'm too lazy. I think I'm too lazy to download everything else. So hopefully it works, and if it doesn't, then I'll be able to give you some type of
My friend Sarah's an archaeologist. She works near here. Want to see if she knows anything about it?
Now I can tell right away that I don't have VSync on because there's some ripping and shredding. So let me do this. Go to options, display and graphics, display, and turn VSync on. Now the thing that I learned about when I turn VSync on, it'll keep it at, or fight to keep it at 60 frames, no more, no less, right? But as long as we don't have that ripping and tearing, and no ripping and tearing. And when I say this thing is at this again, this is full 4K DLSS, but nothing, no. Yeah, so let me do this real quick. And it's real world, folks. Let me turn off DLSS. All right, and this anti-aliasing, I know this junk eats the graphics card alive, so I want to turn it down to just SMAA. We don't want to kill it, and I can instantly tell it's down to about 30 frames per second. So I went from 60 to 30. But if I did this with the 3070, 20, 15. Even when I had DLSS on with the 3070, it was roughly 30, no more, no less. 30, 32, maybe 28 normally. So when I played this game, and I played the full game on that 3070 chip, I played it on the 2070 Super. I had to play that 1440p. So let me run the numbers for you guys so you can see the actual performance. Because right now I'm just roaming around like a chicken with my head cut off. I don't know where the hell that saying came from, but I just want to walk around these environments to see if anything trips up. And I'm telling you, it's nothing. And I'm doing this on purpose. Is there a difference between DLSS and non-DLSS, or having it on and off? To the naked eye at this size, I don't see none, but the frame rates go up considerably. So let me put up these numbers. Give me 1 second. Now, one thing about these fans in the computer and the pretty much the R4 line period is you have to have one or the other, right? If you want the fans to be quiet, you can set them to be quiet, but it's going to run hot, and vice versa, right? It's not going to run cool, but it's going to run cooler than if you don't have the fans blaring. Another thing I noticed difference between this and the R5 are the actual, I guess, themes that we have down here at the bottom. On the R4, I'm sorry, on the R5, they didn't have as many options here, right? Because I remember in my video I said, hey, you can put it in quiet mode. There was no quiet mode on the R5. So again, it's another thing that they took away from that model, and I don't know why they messed with the software on that model. Maybe I needed to update it, but I never needed to update this software, because when I got it out of the box, even when I got my original R4, it was already like this. So I don't know why they did that. So I think there was only 3 modes on that R5 that I had, and that's a shame. That's a shame. But for this one, as you can tell, with any game, any individual game, you can set it to how you want the computer to react. You want the power to be at high power, and I want my thermal to be at performance mode, but I can hit it to go full speed to have those fans, when I say screaming. So anytime I launch this game, or any game that it detects, it'll automatically change the main modes down here to the modes up here. Anyway, let's talk about the 3D Mark results. Now, I did my normal test, Time Spy Extreme, and then Port Royal. I really didn't do a stress test because, again, for looking at my results from all the stress tests that I've run, they've all been pretty much the same, right? They've all passed, and they've all ran between 70 and 75 degrees for both CPU and GPU, and this one would have been no different. But for Time Spy Extreme, comparing this to the R5 and the R4, both with the 3070, and then this one with the 3080, the difference in performance was 11% from the R5, which had a 3070, and then 8% better with this 3080 R4 between the two. And I'll put the results up on a board, 11-ish percent better than the 3070. Is that worth the extra funds buying this brand new? No, but buying it refurbished, I would say yes. 8% better could be a lot depending on what you're playing. When it came to the Port Royal ray tracing test, well, the results and the differences were a little bit higher, where between this one, the two R4s, one with the 3070 and one with the 3080, the difference was 13%. So those are synthetic tests, right? So how did this thing perform in real world? Well, playing the Shadow of the Tomb Raider, as I bring up my notes, the difference was, and as you've seen before, was to me, who've had all three models, was pretty apparent that the 3080 did what the 3080 was supposed to do. Now, keep in mind that the 3080 and this one, and then the 3080 and the other R4 are two different voltages. They're 125 watts, and this one is 140 watts. But at any rate, the difference in frames between the two R4s, the 3070 and 3080, wasn't that big a difference when I ran it at both 1600p and also, for the most part, 1080p, right? Maybe a 10 frames per second difference. And I'll put the results up on the screen. But when it came to running things at 4K, that's when things got interesting, because again, this validates me upgrading to a 3080 through the refurbished process to save myself $400, $500 than buying it brand new, because the difference in performance was pretty much 25%, if my math is correct. 30 frames per second with RTX on the 3070, but 44 frames per second running the benchmark. Again, this is running the benchmark. 44 frames per second with RTX on the 3080. With RTX off, 40 frames per second for the 3070 version, and then for the 3080 version with RTX off, 61 frames per second. And for the most part, anytime I played that game, the Shadow of the Tomb Raider, I didn't really need RTX on or off. To me, I really couldn't see a difference in that particular game. Not saying that RTX doesn't make a difference, because some games it do, but in that particular game, it was little things here and there that you can say, oh yeah, I see a difference, but it wasn't like jaw dropping where I had to have it on. So for the most part, when I played that game, I turned it off and ran it at 60 frames per second and had no problem, and enjoyed the experience, enjoyed the visuals. When I say enjoyed, thoroughly enjoyed the visuals in amazement, because it ran so smoothly at 4K. So comparing this to the other computers I have, like the other computer I had, like the R5, nah, it was no comparison. It was a bigger difference. So can you save money? Yes. My recommendation when going to the Dell outlet is make sure you get the certified refurbished, refurbished version, because there is a scratch and dent one. So be mindful of that when you go into the store. And I'll pull it up right now. Dell outlet. I can just scroll down here and then shop Alienware. So be mindful that when I go to condition right here, it says certified refurbished or scratch and dent. This could be technically scratch and dent, right? Because with these ridges up here, but it's just probably something that they didn't even see. So I'll forgive them for that. But there's lots of R4s in here if you want to get one, and if you don't want to get one, you want to get on the X series. That's cool too, because I am going to get an X series, and I am going to compare it to this one, both with, one would have the 11th gen, and this has the 10th gen, which would be the true difference. Both will have 30 gigabytes of 32 gigabytes of RAM, and then the other one, and they both will have the 3080. And I want to see the true difference. If you ask me and what I expect to see, I expect to see not a big difference, maybe a difference in temperatures overall. So anyway, that was my quick comparison between the M15R4 with the 3070 and the M15R4 with the 3080, and then throwing the R5 with the 3070 in there, so y'all can get I guess a better perspective of what you're getting when you either buy this new, because they're still on sale, or going to the refurbished shop, or considering the R5 because it has that Ryzen chip that I was so excited about, but yet so disappointed about at the end of the day. So if you have any questions, hit me in the comments. But this is DT 2.0. Thanks for watching. Peace.